SU is what? It is your sending unit and this is your receiving unit. Okay, means where from SU the technology transfer will be done to the receiving unit. So in that we have quite back, I think we have almost done 8 lectures for this when we started technology transfer. So right from the beginning we are studying various, what you can say, points or how the technology transfer is been done from sending unit to the receiving unit. Sending unit could be your R&D and the receiving unit may be your manufacturing site, and the other possibility would be from one manufacturing site to the other manufacturing sites. So that is all with respect to SU to RU. Now since today we are going to discuss the technology transfer considerations with respect to premises and equipments. Okay, so in that first important point is what SU and RU should give information with respect to layout. Now this is with respect to premises. Okay, we have started for the premises in the first part and later we will see for the equipments. So premises is what? It's a area in which your production is going on, right? Or production would go, okay, in the future, near future. So premises, the first information SU should share with the RU is what? It is about layout of a premises, then construction of that, then finish of building services. Okay, rather we would say building constructions, building services, sorry, construction is already done. Building services, what would come under this we'll see later. So first of all, with respect to premises, we are supposed to tell them, or the information should be shared from SU to RU with respect to layout, construction of that particular premises, then building services means with respect to the all the services, necessary services building is supposed to have, like it could be your water supply, drainage line, electricity supply, and other, the most important one is called as HVAC systems. Okay, we'll see that. So that will all comes under this building services. Okay, so what it will include? It will include your HVAC systems. What it stands for? HVAC. Anyone can put it in a chat room. I will give you 1 minute for that. HVAC systems. It's a building service which is needed to be have with the premises. Just put it down if someone knows what is HVAC stands for. I would check the chat box. 1 minute is there for you. Yes, Adnan, very good. It's what? Heating, ventilation and air conditioning, right? Very rightly said. Is what HVAC systems are with respect to heating, ventilation and air conditioning. So that is your HVAC systems. Okay, so this system should be provided with the premises, means with respect to heating, what are the processes, what type of instrumentation, what type of systems you have developed, that systems, the development of that systems, the information with respect to that system has to be shared with the receiving unit. Okay, so that is very important. HVAC systems should be shared. So what it will include, it will include your temperature, humidity. What it will includes? Temperature, humidity, water, right? Then process of whatever the process of, maybe that what particular system has been developed under HVAC. So whatever the process means, if your temperature control is there, okay, so that way how the process is been done to control that temperature or to humidity. So process of everything, means procedure of everything should be supported with this HVAC systems. Okay, that will be your under building services. Clear with this? We'll go ahead with this next point, that is health, safety and environmental issues. So this was the first point we have discussed today. Then second is health, safety and environmental issues. So this is the second point under premises. Now this point we have discussed in one of the, I think I think in the last lecture only. If we are talking about health, safety and environment, what it should include? Okay, what it should include? It should include the reactive chemical hazards. Okay, what it should include? Reactive chemical hazards. Okay, means this is with respect to the personnel who are working over there. Okay, this particular health, safety and environmental issues with respect to the personnel who are working under that area. Okay, so we have to take care of their health. Okay, even we are supposed to take care of some environmental issues, right? So that is what we are supposed to take care, right? Means if certain chemicals, APIs or whatever the ingredients you are using in the manufacturing process, if it has some health issues with respect to the persons who are working under that area, then it should be clearly mentioned in the information, okay, in the document which has to be handed over to the receiving unit under technology transfer. So that should be clearly mentioned that these are the reactive chemical agents or hazards the personnels may have. Okay, even the safety kind of that, means how it should be or what are the process to be safe from that chemical hazards, it should be given. Along with that, you are supposed to tell them that what is the exposure time, right? Exposure time means the how much time that uh, particular, what you can say, agent, hazardous agent can be tolerated by human beings. Okay, so exposure time, that you are supposed to have a minimum exposure time, that is all needed for the hazardous chemical, means how low you can keep it, that will be the good. So that will determine what should be the exposure limit of a agent. Then with respect to fire and explosion risks, what again it should include is what? Fire and explosion risks, right? Means with respect to this, if certain chemicals are very prone to the, what you can say, fire, that should be clearly mentioned, okay, or that information should be clearly given to the receiving unit, okay. And maybe certain chemicals, maybe in a, maybe they have a explosion, like we know that sodium metal, right, we are using that in our lab. So that time also, where what are the storage conditions with respect to that particular hazardous agents should be clearly mentioned. So that is the second important point under premises, is what it is with respect to health, safety and environmental issues, with respect to health and safety of personnel who are working under that area, under that manufacturing process, should be informed with respect to the reactive chemical hazards which will be involved in that manufacturing. At the same time, what should be the probable or exposure time for that, okay, maximum limit or minimum limit you are supposed to give, okay. So that will determine what is the exposure limit for that hazardous chemical. And the third important point with respect to this is what, the fire and explosion risk of various agents, okay. So that should be included here. Next is minimum operator exposure, okay. Again here we can write minimum operator exposure, okay. Means that's what, with respect to exposure time, we can determine what is the minimum operator exposure time. So it should be very less, or you can keep it as low as possible. Next point is emergency planning considerations. Emergency planning considerations. What it includes, emergency planning considerations means, if somehow something goes wrong and there will be a mishap during the manufacturing process, then that case, what are the measures you are supposed to have, that will be included under this emergency planning considerations. Means, for example, what it could be, it could be a fire extinguishers, right, or you can say what it includes, fire extinguishers. Along with that, you may have proper exits, okay, exit plans. Means if something goes wrong, how it should be, the people should be moved throughout or from that facility, okay. So that will be included, what, some fire extinguishers mechanisms, what are there and where they have been kept, how it has to be done, okay. Everything, that information should be included. With respect to that, exit plans for the personnel who are working in that area, it should be supported under emergency planning considerations. Next is, you can have with respect to environmental issues, is recycling, okay. Next is recycling. This is with respect to what, whatever the things which comes out as a waste product in your manufacturing process, they should be easily, means first of all they should be identified, okay. Okay, these are the particular waste products or byproducts of that manufacturing process. So first of all, it should be identified, sorted. They should be sorted according to the various labels given under regulations, okay. Given under regulations, it should be sorted and dispose, okay, and dispose. Now this disposal should be again according to the GMP regulations, because every waste product has a particular norm. By that only you are supposed to dispose that particular byproduct or a waste product of that manufacturing process. If along with this recycling. Okay, here we'll see, right, disposal and recycling. Okay, so with respect to disposal, you are supposed to, first of all the waste products you are supposed to identify, then sort it accordingly as per the norms given under various regulatory norms, then the proper disposal of that again as per the norms given, and if possible we should look for whether we can recycle it. Okay, so recycling is again important. Recycling of waste should be done, means if something can be reused, okay, that way we are supposed to do the recycling. Particularly this is with respect to if you see with respect to pharma industry. With respect to pharma industry, what is important? The solvents. Okay, solvent should be recycled. Okay, pharma recycling of waste means you can do many things. You can recycle many things in the manufacturing process, any manufacturing process. But with respect to pharma industry, if you see, if you are able to recollect solvent from the manufacturing process, and
मदद करेगी
if
क्या?
possible if you can,
शेता लगी
okay, recycling of waste we were discussing about. So anything whatever comes out as a waste product or byproduct of a manufacturing process, it should be recycled, or the industry should think of. Okay, and if it is think of by the sending unit, then that same information should be conveyed to the receiving unit, that this is the waste product or byproduct of a manufacturing process, and if it is not at all what you can say recycle, then you are supposed to have a disposal of that in a proper manner. And if you are having something, or you are having some planning to recycle it, if you do something for that, then that information should be shared with the sending unit, that this is the way we are going to recycle the product. Okay, recycle the waste product or a byproduct. And as I mentioned, with respect to pharma industry, the most important aspect which is thing for the recycling is about solvents, because in pharma industry we are using many organic solvents, and these organic solvents have a great impact on environmental issues. So they're asking that you are supposed to recollect that solvent from anything. Means, for example, in case of extraction you are using various solvents, in case of method development you are using solvents, in case of making solutions you are using solvents, okay, in case of tablet coating you are using solvents, and these are all organic. They easily evaporate, and they may have a great environmental issue. So if you are able to have a planning or a system to recollect that system solvent from that, and you can reuse it, so that will be well and good. We will not going to release that solvent into the environment. So in pharma industry, the focus is normally on a solvent should be recycled, because the other aspect of this is what, not only with respect to the environmental issues, but the other aspect is that these solvents are normally expensive. So if you are able to recycle it, that means you can save your economy. Okay, means it becomes, the process becomes economical, because you are recollecting that solvents are normally expensive. So with respect to the environmental issues, we can also have some monetary benefits with respect to the recycling of solvents. So that is with respect to the premises, what we can do. Now second thing, we'll discuss about equipments. Okay, so premises is done. Now we'll see here second, with respect to equipments, what type of information should be shared under technology transfer. Okay, so under this, what we are supposed to give, first of all, list of equipments used, then mix of that equipment. Mix means who is the manufacturer of that equipment, that we are calling it as a mix, means whether it is DISO of Lab India or HPLC of JASCO or HPLC of water or UV spectrophotometer as a some other company. So that is what your mix. So mix should be given that particular equipment, whatever is being used. This was the make. Okay, then it also has models. Okay, it also has models, means not only a company has a HPLC of particular JASCO company, but it also has different models under that HPLC, depending upon the, what you may say, the major classification would be like one is manual, the other one is automatic. So these are the two models, and they have given specific identification, what you may say, or a model number for that. That this model is a manual one, this model is a automatic one. Again, in that they may have a further bifurcation depending upon the, what you can say, the facilities, or depending upon the specifications the customer looks for. Like some customers are able to have a very high-end sophisticated HPLC. At the same time, they may have a low-end sophisticated HPLC. So that way, the costing is going to increase. Means from 25 lakhs, they are having HPLC up to crores. So like that. So depending upon that, we may have the models. So first of all, under equipment, the list of equipments used in the manufacturing process at the sending unit should be given. Along with that, what was the make of that particular instrument equipment, along with the models. Okay, it should be given to the sending unit. Okay, at the same time, product, process. Okay, product and process information should be shared. Okay, so this is with respect to the equipments. Okay, along with this, you may have to give some drawings, manuals, maintenance logs. Means with respect to this, what we can give? Manuals of that instruments, then maintenance logbooks are there, that should be given. Okay, if drawings are there with respect to that, it should be given for that particular equipment. Okay, so next point is with respect to the RU. Now, if this information is with respect to RU, म्हणजे आपण जर बघितलं इथं, this is information should is of responsibility of SU. Means what is the responsibility of SU? They should provide list of equipment used, what are the makes, models, product and process information which has to be followed or will be carried out on that equipment should be, information should be given to the receiving unit. At the same time, some manuals if are available with the equipment, what is the maintenance logbook, how to maintain that logbook, that should be given. Some drawings are applicable to some of the equipment, then it should be provided with the receiving unit. So this is the responsibility of SU. With respect to RU, there are certain, what you can say, responsibilities that we'll see here with respect to equipments. Now what is that? it should review all the equipment list with their own inventory list. Okay, whatever the information shared should be reviewed by the receiving unit. At the same time, it should be what you can say compared, or it should be make what you can say have a because these RUs have their own inventory. Own inventory list may have, means if they are having some list of equipments, they are supposed to take this list and compare with their own inventory list and see what is available and what is not available. So own inventory list they should have, and with that list they are supposed to review this list which is sent it, or this what you can say this information with their own inventory information, so that they can find out that this is available, this is not available. So accordingly they can compare this with own inventory list. At the same time, means there may be a what you can say a side by side comparison. Okay, this is what you can say side by side comparison. Comparison with respect to functionality. Okay, means once they review this with their own inventory list, they should have a side by side comparison with the functionality makes models. Okay, side by side comparison with respect to functionality makes and models. Okay, at the same time they may have, because once there is a equipment, there are three important what you can say quality control or validation aspects comes called as installation qualification, then operational qualification, and third one is PQ qualification. Anyone know what are these three? IQ, OQ and PQs with respect to the equipments. So these are the qualification. What are these qualification? You can put it in a chat box. I will give you 30 seconds for that. I have asked you, there are certain three important quality control, what you can say, or with respect to validation. There are three terms with respect to equipments, that is installation qualification. Then, okay, 474 Shafiq Sheikh, installation qualification for IQ. Okay, next is OQ. What is OQ? It is operational qualification. Okay, and third one will be your, what is that, Shafiq?
Process qualification.
Process qualification. Who said that? Abhishek?
Yes, sir.
No, it's wrong. No, Shafiq, it is not
Performance.
process qualification. It is performance qualification. Very good. It is performance qualification. Means with respect to equipments, how to be installed that equipment. Okay, that should be the what are the parameters we are supposed to consider under IQ. It has to be well informed. What is an operational qualification? Okay, how it should be operated and how this equipment will perform. Okay, whether it will perform as per the requirement or not. So if you are having, or if it is done under performance qualification, that this particular equipment use is performing as per the desired one, so that will be called as a performance qualification. So that all information with respect to this has to be shared with the receiving unit. Okay, next point is with respect to RU is it should do some gap analysis. Now, what is this gap analysis? Gap analysis is what? Anyone know why we are doing this gap analysis? Because there are certain process and procedure which has to be modified. Okay, so that if you are having, or you if you are aware, that means if sending unit, or sorry, if receiving unit is aware about the gap analysis, that means this RU will do gap analysis for कशासाठी करतील ते, for a single word, adaptations. A very important word with respect to this is what? Adaptations. क्यों करेंगे ये लोग? Are you people will do gap analysis to have some adaptations, means some changes required with respect to the premises and equipments, normally equipment. Okay, so first of all, if they are aware about the gap analysis, they will identify the adaptations. Okay, first of all, they will identify where adaptation is desired or required. Okay, in certain GMP requirements, okay, to have some, to identify adaptations, and to have that adaptations, they will do gap analysis. Then some GMP requirements are there. So as per that GMP requirements, they will have a they may have to be forced to have adaptations because of GMP requirements, so that if they have performed very well this gap analysis, then they can adapt that change, they can make that change. Okay, and it should be satisfied for intended production volumes. Okay, and one more thing, adaptations to have to meet GMP requirements, or to have what I can say, high yield production, means if they wish to produce this product on a larger scale,